Hi everybody, this is Sheraz Karim. I'm a student of DBA at University of Westcliff. So I supposed to present my today's presentation in symposium, but due to some reasons I may not be able to reach to the university to present my presentation. So that's why I'm gonna record my presentation. So yeah, give me a second. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, today my presentation topic is the impact of power, influence, and politics in the workplace. Why I choose this topic? The reason this topic really makes me interested because of the power, influence, and politics in the workplace. I still remember when I was working in different countries, I hold a managerial position, or you can say leading position. And then on some projects, I was not completely succeeded, or I was not able to deliver the project completely. And I was pretty confused to differentiate between power, influence, and politics. So luckily, I have a very good opportunity to understand these terminologies at Westcliff University in my first mode with Dr. Mo, and I believe he really done a good job to to make easy this topic for me to understand. And today, that's the reason I'm trying to share my expertise, my knowledge, what I really learned from this topic. And I believe all the judges who are going to listen me, definitely they will give me a very good feedback as well. Well, I heard there is always failures behind a successful person. So I believe I'm not discouraging myself, but I'm believing that all those my failures which occurred in my past career, this really motivates me today to learn new things, to learn my failures, what was the reason why I was fail, and how I can remove my weaknesses and gain strengths by studying and by sharing my expertise with professors at university, and study more books and explore new ideas, so that in the future I must be able to complete the project successfully and lead the teams. What is the power? I believe when I thoroughly study the books and refer different books, authors, and throughout the lectures, I understand every person in this world has a power. Even a kid or a baby, when he is burning, he has a power. Of course, how we can say like that? Power, he has a power because if he will not weep, his mom will never feed him. So he has a positional power, we can say. So if baby has so much power, why we don't have power? If for example, I'm working for a multinational company, and I'm working as a Scrum Master, which is equivalent to assistant manager. I'm supervising like a 5 to 10 guys, and those are technical and non-technical guys. So I believe power is such a common terminology that exists with every person. But the only thing, there are only very few people who understand they have power. But most of the people, they don't know whether they have power or no. So the power is basically is the capability of a person, team, or an organization to influence others. How you can influence others? Basically, power is the first, then influence is the second. Then we will see how the politics play a role in these two. Sometimes people are confused and they don't understand what is the power, what is the influence, and what is the politics. So power is a completely different thing, and influence is a completely different thing, and politics is a completely different thing. Even you can see in this chart, a person A and person B, and the resource desired by the person B. Person A has a power to control the resources of the person B, and the person B has a countervailing power also. So it means every person has a power, but uh, some people are more powerful, some people have less power. But it depends how you use and what techniques you need to use to influence others to gain a power. So we will discuss in next slide what are the sources and contingencies of power. And we have like six sources of power, like information power, legitimate power, reward power, coercive power, expert power, referent power. And we have contingencies as well. So substitutability, centrality, discretion, and visibility. We will discuss all these sources and contingencies in next slide in detail. For example, legitimate. Legitimate is a given power by the organization. So you have a role, for example, I'm a scrum master. I have a given role and a given power by the organization. I need to control the team. I need to facilitate them. And I have power to give them new activities. So this is kind of a given power, which is legitimate power because of the organization according to your position in the organization. And the reward power, for example, you have a power to give some reward to your team or to your employee if he is doing good job, or you want to get some desirable outcome from him. So you are giving him a specific rewards, like that rewards might be intrinsic satisfaction or extrinsic satisfaction. That could be in terms of finance, like maybe money, maybe any kind of like certificates or something like that. So there is a coercive power. When the person is failed to apply his legitimate power or reward power, I believe the people are preferring to use coercive power. Coercive is basically you are pressurizing your team or employee to complete the given task. And then you have expert power. So I believe expert power is the best power that any person can use in his organization to motivate his team, to be a more productive his team, to bring the great performance in his team. Expert power is the power you have very good knowledge about a certain project or certain product or certain task. So you are influencing people by using your expert knowledge, your expertise. So referent power, you are liking someone and he likes you, and you accepting him, or he respecting you, you honor him, he honor you. That is also a referent power because he has has a relationship with you. So he has a power that is the source of main power as a referent power. Information power is the ability to control the information. What kind of ability? For example, if you are a finance manager or a chief of finance officer, so you have ability to predict the financial situation in next 5 to 6 months, and you are predicting that okay, next this much will be deficit, or the market will be goes up or down. This is kind of information. It involves kind of business intelligence, because business intelligence is telling you the perfect solution for your business. For example, it depends on the users, the flow of the users and the feedback of the users. These kind of information become a power of the person. I would like to prefer to illustrate some information power. You can see in this image, there is only one person and there are almost 6 persons who are depending on him. It means this guy has more power, information power, because he has a unique information. If you can see this chart, the same information sharing by the other group of other employees in the group or in the team. So it means one knowledge is known to everybody. So it means it's less power. So why I'm trying to emphasize on information power, because once you have information power, you are the strongest person in the organization. Contingencies of power, non-substitutability. So sometimes the people are resisting to substitute, specifically automation. when automation introduced at manual workmanship, then most of the manual workers are resisting the automation because they lose their jobs. So this is also kind of a source of power or contingencies of power, centrality. So all the people in your organization, they are depending on you, or because you have a centrality power, degree and nature of interdependence between power holder and other. Means, for example, I'm a scrum master and there are 5 employees or in my team. So I'm not going to office and I supposed to have a meeting. So they are influencing because I have a power. The second person cannot resume the meetings without me. So this is kind of centrality. Discretion power is the power you are giving a freedom to the people and let them to do their jobs. And even sometimes they don't need to follow any specific rules, standards, and whatever, but they know this is according to the business policy of the organization, and they can do their own way, their own style, the given specific task. And visibility power is to some extent is very powerful. For example, I am a graduate from Harvard University or MIT or Georgia Tech. I'm displaying my credentials, and that shows I have very capable knowledge to do anything. So it's kind of impression or impress to other people as well. This is until now I only discuss about the power. Sometimes the people are mixing power and influence. No, influence is the second stage. You need to first get the power, and how you can use that power to influence others is a next stage. Influence in the potential to change someone's attitude and behavior. Mexian and Glano. So this book I study very, very deeply, and I really influence, or you can say, because of this book. So I understand this topic because of this book. So I would recommend, if anybody wants to study, the book name is Organization Behavior. Influence tactics is a silent authority when the boss and his employees, they are working together without any using of power or any other kind of thing. They are happy. They whatever task is given by a manager, the employees is completing without any problem. So assertiveness is, again, you need to put some pressure, you need to use some power to complete their task. Information control, and again it is information control, and information control means explicit manipulating someone's else access to the information. This is most of the time happening in the organization. How? The managers most of the time, they're controlling the information related to the business purpose, related to the progress of the project, and that suffers the others. But unfortunately, we can say yes, they are still doing. There's also a contingency of influence tactic to other people to control their information. Coalition formation. How actually when the coalition formation is occurring, because when the people are not satisfied, employees are not satisfied with the managers, so they are grouped together, they share the knowledge, they strong themselves. And there is another influence that's called upward appeal. When the managers are not fulfilling the employees' expectations, or sometimes they are not helping, but they are always coercive, then or assertive, or and they are trying to push them, then they, in that situation, the employees are trying to reach the upper organization or the boss of his manager. So persuasion power. This is the best, persuasion influence. This is the best influence to influence your team at workplace. So you must be a logical. Whenever you are doing any kind of work, you must be logical. Because I remember last time I was working at our office, we have a localization testing for one of our mobile application. And I think since last 2-3 years, our team was not able to do this job successfully. But I recommend that, okay, we should organize this project in this way. So initially my boss was not agree, but when I become a persuasive, like I give a logics, arguments, and I show him in Excel sheet, and he was agree. So I believe persuasion influence is very, very important in the workplace. Ingression and impression. Sometimes the people are agree with their boss, ingression. Okay, yes, boss, you are right, even though he's wrong. This is also kind of influencing the influence to their bosses. Yeah, and the exchange influence. This is very common. Sometimes giving and take knowledge. Okay, sharing information. So yeah, this is also one of common tactics in workplace. But I would recommend be a persuasive. Don't be ingression. Don't be a exchange. But silent authority, great. Upward, it's okay. But persuasion is the best one. Influence directions. As I said, we have different directions. Okay, influence you. You need to influence your boss. You need to influence your team workers. You need to influence the persons who are working in your team, in your supervision. So, what kind of influence should apply when you in which situation? For example, if you are stuck with something and you cannot do so, you have upward influence. So that is rational persuasion. Okay, as I said, as I give you the example of my boss, and you need to be a logical. Downward influence means you try to influence your team. You must be a persuasion, inspirational. You should know how to bear the pressure, consultation, ingression, exchange, and legitimacy. And lateral influence means you are a scrum master and another person is also scrum master in different project or in different department. So these kind of tactics we should use to influence: persuasion, consultation, inspiration, exchange, legitimacy, personal appeal, and coalitions. How we can measure the effectiveness? Uh, of course, we have power. We try to influence people, but how we can measure it and how we can say it will be effective? So most effective are these ones. As I said, persuasion, consultation, inspirational appeals, and collaboration. Moderate, ingression, exchange, personal appeals, and appraising. Least effective, pressure and coalitions. I said as in the first slide, pressure, assertiveness, and coercive. These are the least options. When you cannot able to influence anyone by using other techniques, then the last option should be this one. Otherwise, the first expert persuasion tactic should be used in the workplace to influence the employee, or upward or downward influence. Consequences and contingencies of influence in tactics. So we have, as I said, we have hard tactics and we have soft tactics. In hard tactics, as I said, we need to think 100 times before we approach this one. But we must always emphasize this on persuasion, ingression, impression, management, and exchange. When these are failed, then we should look for this one. Of course, every person tried to be here and the maximum here. Although then in the last option is the upward appeal, coalition formation, information control, and assertiveness. Because when you are working here, it's still you have a commitment, your compliance is the business requirement or organization requirement. But when you are here, it means your performance could be a down, your productivity could be a down. There is something you need to be serious about yourself, your job, and even about the organization. This is the main slide. I really put my all efforts to come out with the final findings. So this area is called power, and this is called influence, and these are the consequences. Now I understand when I was prepared this slide, then I understand why I was failed in my past projects. So most of the times, because of the cultural differences, the people were not known to me because I was working some part in Middle East and then I was working in Africa. The most failure happened with me in Africa. So that's why, because I understand now what is the power, when I should use the power, what is the influence, and when I should, and what tactics I should use to influence others, and what kind of results I want to achieve. For example, if I really want my team to be a committed team, then I should use my persuasion, exchange, and integration power, influence tactics. And these tactics are coming from expert power, referent power, and legitimate power. So the same way, if I want my team to be a compliance with the organization and business standards, so I must be silent authority and give them rewards. But if all these are not successful, I have the last option. This is coercive power. I need to use coercive power to influence upward appeal, coalition formation, information control, assertiveness, and this will give me the resistance. Resistance from employees who are working under me. When this will happen, then it will be a problem. And the specifically the manager who is above me and he is not fulfilling our requirements and our demands sometimes. So as I said, the contingencies, we can use these contingencies even here also to bring this one up. For example, substitutability we can bring, we can create centrality, we can create discretion, visibility. Until this slide, we were discussing how we can get the power, what are the sources, and the influence, what are the tactics to influence others, when the commitment will come, when you will use what influence or power. So what exactly we want, how to achieve what we really want, we discuss in power, influence. Now the last is politics. In politics, unfortunately, I don't know why in our countries the people are mixing influence and power. But I believe in Western world the people are most influential and powerful. They are very least in the politics zone. They are always in power and influence zone. But in our countries, most of the time the people are in politics. That is the reason organizations are not properly performing and they are not competing in the other companies in the world. I believe anyone who is using power and influence, he is a successful person. Politics should be a minimum because it's deteriorating the organization image and productivity and performance. But there are certain conditions when the politics should be acceptable. For example, scarcity of resources, when the company has a very less resources to manage a big team, they can use some politics to motivate, to organize, to structure the teams. And the another is a complex and ambiguous decisions. Sometimes in organizations, they need to take such a decisions which are highly important, but they don't need to explain everything to the entire team. So that time politics should be acceptable. Organization changes. I believe politics is on high or peak when there is organization change, because two organizations either merging or one organization become into two organization. So that time is a huge politics going on. So the reason the people are trying to save their career, trying to save their jobs, trying to save their rewards, trying to save their positions. So to save all these things, they need to be very political, very intelligent to secure themselves. So this should be acceptable in when the organization change. These are the references. I study this book very much in detail, McShane, which is organization behavior. I study this book also. This is basically article on a small business web page, And I also study this book, Power and Influence, which often got paused. And I also study this one. I would recommend the best thing is this one, McShane, and this one. If there is any question, I would be happy to reply if you guys try to contact me. And thank you very much. This is all my presentation. And thank you, thanks a lot. Bye.